Hey guys, Cinderash here, and here we're discussing the new and updated Auric Damnation Gungrun build that I've been working on, and pretty easy. And if you guys like it, make sure to drop a sub, like, comment, whatever. And, well, let's get right into the build. Starting off, we will be using the Bull Butcher Mark III Cleaver, mostly because it's very good with its cleave. It's got very high heavy attack, and its light attacks are also very good. We're going for 25% damage against unarmored enemies. Unfortunately, I have a Groaners and Poxwalkers, which is only a 25% melee damage upgrade. But it does exactly what I needed to do, which is just clear mobs that are not worthy of getting shot in the face, as well as just giving me a bunch of toughness back on each hit, or on chained hits, anything like that. I'm always gaining a lot of toughness back, so I never have to worry about going down if I go into melee, even though I'm a Gungrun build. We also have the Gorgonom Mark IV, which is the Twin-Linked Heavy Stubber. I believe all the Heavy Stubbers got buffed, while the Ripper and a couple other things got pushed back a little bit due to the way that the builds and the weapons work now. Little unfortunate, but this can work. Or if you want to use the kickback is also another very disgustingly overpowered weapon, but I'm sure by the time Trader's Curse comes out, it'll probably be bug fixed or patched entirely. If not, then it's still a very strong contender that I would recommend for this build as well. For this, we're doing 25% damage on unyielding enemies, as well as range crit strike chance by 5%, because it's a crit build, as well as a gun build. And unyielding enemies counts as anything that is flak, armored, which is like the Ragers, the Dreggers, the Maulers. Same with, mutants, monstrosities, anything like that. That just gives us bonus 25% damage, which is just icing on top of everything else. Firing Barrage, again, more toughness damage, every 10% of the magazine spent during continuous fire, stacks 5 times, always very nice. And then Charmed Bullet, obviously, we just want to keep reloading on critical hits, so that way we never really run out of any bullets in our magazine. And if we do, we can always pop ult, or preemptively pop ult if there's a monstrosity or something else in the way. Same thing applies as anything else right now in the game. If you have a Blessing, those all stack, but if you have perks, you want to have like one of everything or not, because they don't stack. As far as I'm aware, they weren't stacking when I did the recordings for a couple of my other videos, and they haven't been stacking during the penance helps that I've been offering people. So trying to have a round out build of something like a little bit of damage resistance to get everything that's going to be trouble for you. So for me, mutants, because can't really dodge that well as an Ogryn. Bombers, always very big pain in the ass. Combat ability regens are really nice. Again, Tox Flamers, I have a for fun Curiosa Mission Ward because I'm trying to get a better Curio than this one. And then another 20% damage resistance to Gunners. And then last but not least, again, with this one, if I could have another 20% max health, that would be a lot better. But damage resistance against snipers, corruption resistance, and then pocket. For our talent tree, we are going to be focusing on a lot of things that are just good for guns and just good in general for all of us. So heavyweight, 30% damage boost and 30% damage reduction against them. Always very nice. Obviously, more range damage on reload. We're completely skipping Linchpin, but if you definitely want it for whatever reason, you could probably take off this toughness damage reduction and put it up here. But I don't see it very necessary in this build. And then 2% toughness regen while bracing your ranged weapon, which 9 times out of 10, whenever you're doing anything with your ranged weapon, you're going to be racing it anyway. That 25% toughness, and then Frag Bomb. Game-changing weapon right here. Well, grenade, but weapon regardless. 16-meter blast, fucking massive, and you can make it up to about 22.5 meters if you take the other perk. Soften them up, you're kind of forced to take this, but it's still really good. Any enemies that you damage take 15% more damage for 5 seconds. Really great for monstrosities and just taking them down. As I said, you don't really need this, but you can take it if you want. 10% toughness damage reduction, and then another 15 toughness here. We're going to be taking Point Blank Barrage, which we were taking in our previous Gungrun build anyway, and then Bullet Bravado, because again, 2% toughness for each shot fired, 10% toughness on each reload. Always very nice. But then we're also working on getting light 'em up. The reason that we're taking this is because more often than not, we don't really have to worry about rending anymore. It seems that every class and their mother is running rending, so you will never have to run it or worry about it. So this just allows us to nuke monstrosities down, so that way our team can worry about the other stuff that's gonna be more annoying, such as the hordes coming in, maybe a couple Mauler swarms, you know, stuff like that. So we don't need to worry about that. We're just here to kill all the elites, kill all the monstrosities, melee down the regular shit. Otherwise, Hail of Fire would be god tier, and Thick of the Fray used to be alright, but again, this is probably more if you're taking a kickback or a ripper now. Next up is the reload boost, and again, you would take Pacemaker instead of this if you wanted as well, for that bonus reload speed for your shotgun builds, but Ammo Stash is also very nice for that 25%. Obviously, taking that range damage, and then Coward Calling, 20% damage against suppressed enemies for you and allies. Pretty much any time that you run into anybody, there's almost always a little bit of suppression in their build. So this is just free bonus, free damage. That's all that matters. Next up, we're forced to take this toughness damage node, but then we're going to sprint over here to get this toughness, as well as get stuck in. And activating your combat ability, you and allies gain 20% movement speed, also immune to stuns and suppression. Very nice. Reason we want this is just because the second we pop our ult, 9 times out of 10, we're around monstrosities or around big hordes. We just want our zealots to go in, we want our psychers to be able to pull back, and we want our veterans to be able to catch up to the group and kind of get into the fray if they need to. And that 20% movement speed is very nice. Passive for Bruiser, 5% combat ability cooldown reduction when you or an ally in coherency kill an elite enemy. There's a fuck ton of elites the entire time, and then again, we're a Gungren build. The more we could shoot, the better off we are. The more combat that we have, and especially our combat ability, better off we are. 5% combat ability cooldown is great. Makes it so that we always have it up. Next, we're taking this Coherency Radiance, just because we're going to take it with this. We're going to take this this movement speed on range kills, because again, we're a Gungren build. We want to stay up with the group, and because we're Ogryns, we're slow as shit anyway. We're also taking Towering Presence just so that we can get Big Boom. Includes the explosion radius by 22.5%, which I said, you basically add that to the grenade anyway. It's about a 20 meter to 22.5 meter explosion radius, which is just, it's basically a nuke at that point. There's really no need for anything else. Massacre, killing an enemy grants 1% critical chance for 6 seconds, stacks 8 times, 8% crit chance. That's just kind of, you know, nice in general for everything else. Suppression, just so it links back in here with Coward's Calling. Mobile on placement, 15% reduced damage while bracing. That basically almost gives us 50% damage reduction from Reapers, which is great. Range damage again, and then just everything in here is just really good for having crits, doing better damage. 5% chance of, you know, triggering Lucky Bullet. Don't consume ammo when making ranged attacks. 200% ability cooldown reduction for 2 seconds when it triggers. Really nice there. Chance of, you know, triggering is now 8% instead of 5. Just 1 in every 10 bullets, basically, more or less, ready to go. And then a shot that triggers Lucky Bullet is guaranteed critical. Which again, crit build basically speaks for itself. So we're just gonna wrap this into a Auric Damnation and just show you how it goes. All right. So if you're watching this, then I hope you enjoy it. But just like with the other builds that I'm doing for Auric, I'm just kind of doing a voiceover after the fact. Mostly because I was talking to a friend the entire time. We were just kind of dicking around. And I didn't feel like the audio from that was going to be the best for showcasing this kind of stuff. So I just kind of wanted to talk about the build and just kind of like talk to you guys in general as we go through the gameplay. So if you want to mute this section, completely understandable. If not, then, you know, I hope you enjoy my ramblings and my talking about this kind of stuff. Again, we're doing everything uncut. We're showcasing everything that's on Auric High Intensity Damnation just to showcase the build and just kind of continue through and improve upon it if needed, or kind of take advice as we go. But yeah, let's hop into it. So I think that Ogryn has gotten the best amount of love possible, and I can appreciate that because boots on the ground, running through, this has been my absolute favorite patch for the Ogryn. Before patch 13, before the class tree updates, Ogryn basically was like the worst class. It was the biggest middle finger of a class in Darktide. It was so laughably bad that I don't think I ever saw many Ogryns on high intensity or on Damnation because it was just so rough to actually want to like play Ogryn. You had to take very specific builds for Ogryn, and more times often than not, you were just slabbing shield and just hoping for cover. Now, for a lot of this, I am going to use gun. Mostly because, again, this is Gungren build. I like guns. And I am very much a big fan of the Heavy Stubber, which, by the way, there is a bug with the Heavy Stubber right now. If you have Charm Bullet and you hit your allies, you can technically still reload your ammo in your clip for it. You could see me, like, shooting my Ogryn friend in the back a couple of times and getting it up, so, you know, that's really awesome. Again, I love those big grenades. One of my favorites. Whenever a horde comes in, I like to pop ult. Anytime that I see anything really big coming in, or like a monstrosity, or if I just feel super lazy and I don't want to reload, you're better off just pressing your ultimate. I'm still having trouble with dogs on Ogryn. Ogryn's probably my least played class. I think I maybe have about 60 or less games on Ogryn, just because I have a love affair between Zealot and Veteran, but Veteran has now been tossed aside. It is now my side hoe compared to Zealot, just because the keystones aren't out. And I personally think the keystones for Ogryn and Psyker and Zealot have made them exceptionally good. And it's kind of left Veteran in the dust, which I still don't understand why Fat Shark didn't give them keystones. And they said they'll be giving them keystones eventually, TM, in the next patch. The problem with Fat Shark is their patches are so few and far between that they said they're on patch 13 now. I think I stopped playing during patch 8, which was like 4 months in, and all those patches were basically bug fixes and stability connections. And then they basically said, okay, we fixed all the stability and connection issues. We're going on vacation for a month. So, a lot of my faith in Fat Shark is kind of teetered. Not to mention the fact that they always release like bare minimum games that feel like I'm in early access testing, even though they have literally 2 games before this that they've built upon either in the same engine or the same play style, that they should know exactly what people want and what people expect. But people continue to support their whole bottom line and giving us the bare minimum. I'm a little sick of it, but I can't deny that this patch has brought a lot of faith back into me that the community will start to grow again and start to feel really good. But I'm worried that the rest of the community is not going to come back afterwards. Especially considering we were told many times, like, hey, we're getting this, and this. And then it took them, 6 months to get to where we're at. And then it took them a year to get to these other class lines or like trees or anything like that. And it just felt really bad. I know a lot of people still haven't come back, especially because after the first month, they revoked a lot of the promises, which you can find online. But I'll talk about a couple of them. If my editor also wants to look for them, he can. I don't blame him if he doesn't want to. But they promised us gun customization, then they said no. They promised us the ability to completely change our weapons, not just a few perks. And we still have yet to get to that point. I honestly was expecting Exterminatus difficulty, aka like Cataclysm for Vermintide 2 already. We still haven't gotten that. I was expecting more maps, or at least more maps varieties for certain map types, because we have like 6 different strike missions, 4 different espionages, at least 4 different raids. But we still only have 1 repair and 1 investigation, so it makes it really hard to get those maps done. And those maps are really kind of bland after a while. So that's also not a big fan favorite of mine, is those. I'm really hoping that they'll add a couple of those, or maybe change some of the mission types that could be, strikes into the repairs or into investigations. I feel like you could easily float them to any sort of thing. I'm just not a huge fan of all these different strikes, but this is still my favorite raid. Even after the weird patch they did where they made it a monstrosity as a guaranteed spawn on this map, I still don't understand it. It was the only map that I recommended for veteran on Overwatch because it had very unlikely chances of spawning a monstrosity. There was a lot of vantage points and all that other stuff, and I feel like it kind of got ruined, but that's okay. I'll just have to find a new one, but I still think the cheese is still the better option overall for having to deal with the on Overwatch, which is you just throw yourself over the edge and sit there while your other 3 teammates do a malice mission in like 15 minutes or less. Because, again, the game kind of got trivialized to the point where the second you hit 30, you can pretty much run Damnation as long as you get a decently rolled weapon. You don't even need it to be perfect. And even a little bit on Auric, you don't need it to be perfect, but having high rolls and high stats is almost always good. So I can't remember what happens here. I think I get pinned by the dog the entire time of the Plague Ogryn. It was just really unlucky for me because I was getting ready to turn and fight the Plague Ogryn, and I had my melee out. And again, because I refuse to change my playstyle, I don't block. So that's an entire big skill issue on me that doesn't showcase the build as well as it should. But here we go with the heavy stubber. Even with what little ammo I have, I press my ult, I shoot the monstrosity. A lot of burn damage, pretty much melts that last 1/4 of the HP. Unfortunately, I did not expect him to walk forward, so that was entirely my bad. I even told him that was my bad. I apologized for that, because that was entirely my fuck up. Thankfully, there was no hordes or anything, so it didn't wipe us. But situations like that can always be bad. I threw a grenade just to have a little bit of extra clear. I want to make sure that Dink stays alive, and I want to make sure that the Psyker stays alive just because of the way the Psyker build is going, and Dink gets grenades back constantly. He's running a support build where he can revive people and basically have infinite crack grenades, but he also has a good bit of damage with whatever ranged weapon he's running. He's always changing his ranged weapon and trying to find solid ranged weapons. We've pretty much ruled out that the one shotgun, that's not a slug. The one with pellets is awful. The revolver is also pretty much awful, and the plasma gun is very situational and awful. Even with proper management, the gun just doesn't perform as well as it could. So he's been running a lot of the las guns. He's been stuck on the recon for a hot minute. I think in this run he's taken either an autogun or a headhunter autogun. And both have been extremely well in a lot of builds that I've seen, but it's just because of the perks that they're performing exceptionally well, such as faltering weakness and no respite. That combo right now is either not working as intended, or it's just incredibly strong. I'm going to err on the side that's incredibly strong, and it's working as intended, but we'll have to see what Fat Shark says about it when it sees literally every other build is running it. And then we'll probably see it get nerfed into the ground like Speedloader. Granted, Speedloader's not absolutely terrible now, but the fact that you have to build it up through close range kills and they have to be within 2 seconds of each other is kind of not the greatest.
So we're about halfway through. I figure what I'll do is I'll talk about the downsides to this build, as I will with every build that I record. From now on, just kind of be transparent. The best thing you can do with any build is be transparent. And some downsides to this build is ammo. You're eating a lot of ammo, but you are killing a lot of things. So it's kind of a neutral benefit, but at the same time, it's kind of not that great. I also don't like some of the melees. So I'm still very hard stuck on the Bolt Cleaver Mark III, which I think does excellent for what I need it to do, which is just wave clear small enemies. But it also allows me to gain back a ton of toughness, so I'm very sturdy. And being sturdy is very good just because it allows you to kind of be the frontline tank if you need to be, without needing to use taunt. Thankfully, that sniper took 10,000 years to line up a shot that was 2 feet in front of him. Otherwise, that might have been bad for Dank, and he would have been down. This would have been a little bit harder here. Especially because he's just loading into some of this other stuff. And then, as you can see, this other Psyker is running a Psyker build incredibly similar to the one that I'm running. And we'll be showcasing in another video. So if that goes up before this, maybe my editor will put a link somewhere here or put a picture. If not, then I highly recommend looking at it when it goes out. Shouldn't be too long in between these Auric Damnation build videos, because I am also redoing all the penance videos due to the fact that the video guides for my stuff have become outdated due to the fact that you only had to use 6 points compared to the 30 we have now, and now certain penances don't work unless you don't take any skill points, which is really obnoxious because some of the ones that they have you doing, you have to do on Heresy. And now, granted, Heresy is pretty much a cakewalk if you're doing Auric Damnations all the time, and you could probably run Heresy without any skill points. But, for example, the Ogryn one, because we're on the Ogryn right now, with the big box of hurt, you have to hit like 4 elites without missing a hit or something like that. You can't take any of the skill points because the box that you take, that is the upgraded version of that, does not count. So it's a gigantic middle finger to the players because they haven't patched this stuff yet. So assuming if we don't get a patch within the next week after this video goes up, I'll be making another Deer Fat Shark penance video. And just talking about, hey, here's some of the bugs, here's some of the glitches, here's some of the things that we need to fix, because it's not good for the player base. It's not healthy, and it doesn't help the players feel accomplished for leveling up when they basically have to be playing Heresy at level like 6, which is insane and just not plausible or reasonably explained. And you would think it's like, oh, well, obviously you have to take the big box of hurt. Even if you have the upgraded version, you still have to take that one instead of the upgraded version. But it doesn't make sense, because if you use Brain Rupture for Psyker, it works. For the Brain Burst abilities you need to do. Really silly. But it is what it is. So as you can see, I'm not helping him. I have no intentions of really helping him. What I want to do is I want to lay into the boss. Sadly, there's a mute behind me. I was hoping it was going to go for somebody else. But that Chaos spawned, I half-healthed, and he only took about a half a bar of HP damage. Granted, his HP is incredibly low compared to mine. Which is fine. He's a taunt Ogryn, so he probably needs certain other nodes than I do that don't give as much HP. But I was able to half-health it, and he was able to take just a little bit of chunk of corruption damage, which is significantly better than just trying to make him able to hit the monstrosity. There's very rare situations where you want to either let yourself get eaten by like a beast in Nurgle. Situations like if you have a veteran who's running no respite and faltering weakness or something like that. If you make sure that they're running both, you can get eaten by the beast of Nurgle, so it's stuck in an animation. And when it's stuck in that animation, the teammate can then shoot the yellow. And I'm sure you will see it either on one of my videos, or you'll see it whenever I play. If you're ever curious about the streams and just kind of want to watch stuff or come talk, discuss builds, math behind things, I'm totally down for it. You can find me on YouTube. It doesn't even matter if I'm playing Warhammer or not. You can come talk to me about builds, and I can help you with your build if you don't like this build, or if you have a build in mind that you would like me to showcase and just kind of see where it goes. Played at high levels, I am more than welcome to do that for you guys. I love this game. I love some of the people in the community. Some people are very beholden and think that the way that they play is correct, no matter what. And I'm open to being wrong. That is one of the things that I think sets me apart a little bit from people in the community, is I will say stuff is bad, but if you can prove to me that it's not bad, or you can show to me in what cases it's good, then I can definitely agree with it or point out flaws in the logic. I had somebody recently tell me that the plasma gun was good because a bunch of content creators are talking about it. Which, again, a lot of plasma gun runs in general are very niche. And especially with stuff like this. Again, Ogryn was one run on Auric. This is my first ever Auric run with my Ogryn on this build. And I did pretty damn well with it, I'd say. I still feel like a lot of the times it doesn't feel very good. And it only does very specific things, which is like take down bulwarks and crushers and maulers and stuff. But most teams should be more than adept at that. And I don't know. I have never seen a plasma veteran do well on Aurics. I have almost always seen them be the first to go down and the first to leave. And there's nothing wrong with that. So what you might see me doing here is I'm sitting here in front of this door during a horde. Reason being is I don't want nothing to spawn and come in behind us. And I'm just going to keep swinging until everything's dead in here. Even though I had to back up because I knew I wasn't doing any damage. I could tell there was a mauler in there. And there just happened to me too. So it didn't do any good. I also threw down a medkit at the start, I think. Or one of the teammates did because we heard a horde coming in. Thankfully it came in through the front entrance instead of that side door. But the second wave came in through the side door. So that's why I had to do that way. I still just want to hope you guys are having a great day. I know times are rough for everybody and the holiday seasons are coming up. I know a lot of people may find the holidays rough, but I want you guys to know that you guys are appreciated and you guys are loved in your life. Whether it's, by a streamer, that dog got yeeted, by a YouTuber, or, just by the people that you talk to on Discord every day. They might not say it, but, they appreciate you being alive and you being here. Alright, so, the other teams took care of that. I took care of the back line, and I was just kind of waiting. So, a lot of this is just going to, again, just be same thing as the other videos. Just showing the damage, just kind of showing where a lot of the stuff is coming out, where a lot of our build shines, a lot of it where it doesn't shine. But that's every build. Every build has applications. Every build has its uses. Some significantly less than others, I saw it. But, I think it's good to always explore every option and find something to fit your playstyle. Because even though that this might be a really good build for me, this might not be a build for you. And it might be a build for, your friend Tom, but might not be the build for you. Maybe you prefer more of a taunt build. Maybe prefer the heavy bleed build. It is what it is. I always recommend testing every build out that you come across. They're just kind of seeing what's good. I just started shooting at this dude in the distance just because I could. I didn't really care that I was running low on ammo because I had an ammo crate on me. And my teammates are, messing around with these boxes, so I don't really need to do anything except drop ammo. Whenever you drop ammo or a mini crate, make sure you always ping it for your teammates just so they know. I can see that Dink was really low on ammo. And as you can see, I really haven't played Ogryn or any of the other classes since the class updates, and the fact that they made a lot of the achievement pendants is redacted for some reason. I guess they basically gave up on actually making them work and function, and was just like, fuck it, we'll put them in the redacted section. And they put a lot of more for fun penances that give like really ugly cosmetics in the front. It's it's whatever, but I would really prefer if they got rid of the FOMO for cosmetics in general. The cosmetics that we get for the non-redacted penances are so fucking ugly. And a lot of the cool ones that they've gotten rid of, I think you can find on Reddit. I think there's a list of all penances or all the cosmetics that they gotten rid of over the year of the first year. And only a couple of them I regret not purchasing. But they were also during the time that I didn't play. Or they were during the time where I thought they were just fucking hideous and laughable. But now that they're gone forever, I kind of wish I got them. Like clown pants. You can look up, Ogryn had clown pants. Or he had cheetah print pants. And then I think Psyker also had cheetah print or clown pants. They were fucking phenomenal. They were hilariously bad. But now that they're gone forever, I kind of wish I had them. And then I also forgot that they couldn't patch the spawn locations of certain enemies, so they put manholes everywhere, which was fucking whatever. Also, this grenade should have not killed that Ogryn. Realistically, I threw that in such a way that the angle of the blast explosion shouldn't have killed it, but it goes through walls. So that's another thing that you can abuse with grenades, is if there's a bunch of enemies coming up behind you through walls and shit, you can just chuck a grenade and you're fine. They'll all explode on the other side of the wall. You won't need to worry about them. But that wraps up the Ogryn video. I hope you guys enjoyed the build. We'll look through the cutscene and just kind of showcase the damage. It's significantly less than my Zealot, but 456k, pretty damn good, especially when Auric Damnations run close to about 1 million damage. So it or a little bit over 1 million damage, and I did almost half of it. So it's pretty solid. So I hope you guys take care. I hope you guys like the build. Sub if you want to see some more crazy builds, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Bye guys.